Why do you feel like you're running after yourself? You feel overwhelmed, you feel confused, you feel disconnected maybe, you feel anxious, you don't know really what to do with yourself, you can't find peace, you can't find to calm yourself, and you wonder why. Okay, there might be things in your work life or in your relationships that is bothering you. You can't seem to really wrap your head around everything at once. It feels like you can't really settle into a peaceful state. And it's something that is very relatable because I have dealt with similar feelings many times in my life. And in this video, I would like to share a little bit of the things that I've learned dealing with these feelings and what seemed to be a solution, or what seems to be a solution to feeling that way. Okay, now the first thing is understanding that it's a temporary feeling. It's absolutely okay to feel like you're running after yourself. It's absolutely normal. Many people feel like this, so you're not alone in that feeling. Okay, so you don't need to judge yourself for feeling like you're running after yourself. It's okay, it's normal. Many people go through this feeling. Okay, now the second thing is that I believe that because of how we get so hooked to instant gratification, especially through the phone, social media, we are not used to allowing ourselves to wander, to get bored, to be bored, to spend time in solitude, to not constantly be distracted by music or videos or talking to people, texting. There are so many different things that are now available to us to distract us, okay? But this causes our brains to not be used to the discomfort, okay? We feel a little bit uncomfortable, we pull out the phone. We want to talk to someone. We want to listen to some music. There is no real time anymore to calm down, to get bored, to get in touch with your priorities, the things that you care about, okay? So that is why you feel like you're constantly running after yourself, because you keep stimulating your brain. You don't allow your brain to settle into a natural state of calm, okay? So what helped me reduce this constantly running feeling is to remove social media, is to drastically reduce my smartphone use, is to even not listen to music all the time. Okay, I used to go to the gym and blast music or audiobooks all the time. I now don't do that anymore, or way less. Okay, sometimes I commit to not listening to any music in the day because I feel like listening to music all the time is not a good habit. It doesn't allow you to just wander your thoughts. At some point, on a subconscious level, you are still paying attention to the music, okay? And again, this doesn't allow your mind to just settle into the nothingness, into relaxing, into the mind wandering, okay? So reducing the amount of distractions you face during the day can greatly reduce the feeling of running after yourself, because you need time to return to the center. You need time in contemplation. You need time spent in meditation. So another habit that really helps me to reduce this anxious feeling, because actually it is some form of anxiety, okay? Feeling as if you're running after yourself, it's anxiety, it's uncomfortable, all right? So sitting down, meditating, sitting down, journaling, reflecting on how you feel, that is going to reduce the anxiety, okay? And once you reduce the anxiety, this feeling of running after yourself, this feeling of chaos is going to drastically reduce because you gain more clarity. You gain more clarity, you structure your thoughts, and you put the feelings onto the paper, and by doing so, they transform. Awareness in and of itself is transformative. So once you become aware, once you start to pay attention closely, not in this distracted state where you kind of know that something's off, but you decide not to look at it and just distract yourself instead. When you actually sit down and pay attention, that's when the feelings start to truly transform. When you gain insight, you start to gain insight, and you can audit your behaviors. Take an audit of your whole day and notice how much time you spend talking to people online, being distracted by YouTube videos, music, okay? I don't want you to spend endless hours watching YouTube videos, even not my content, and I know it's not good promo or whatever, but I want you to understand that it's equally as important to reduce most of the stimulation and to spend time being bored. Intermittent boredom, it's an interesting concept. It's starting to emerge on the internet a little bit. Intermittent boredom, where you intermittently, just like intermittent fasting, where you limit the time you eat during the day. Okay, I've been doing intermittent fasting since like 8 years or something, okay? And it's a very easy way to increase the health benefits of your nutrition and to also train your mind, okay? Because fasting is a great way to learn that you can, in fact, train yourself to sustain an extended period of not eating or sustain an extended period of not distracting yourself, because food is actually also a form of distraction. A lot of people eat out of boredom. Okay, so intermittent boredom is deliberately reducing or even completely removing certain sources of stimulation, of distraction. And by doing so, you will find yourself kicking into the next gear, okay? Because boredom is a biological evolutionary signal to start taking action. I challenge you to sit down on your couch for 1 full hour. Do nothing, okay? I can assure you that there is going to be a lot of ideas coming up and you will want to start to take action, okay? You will come up with creative solutions to the running after yourself kind of problem, because it's just a, how do I say, procrastination on the things you know you should be doing, but you keep distracting yourself, and that's why you feel like you're constantly running after yourself. You're not actually completing the tasks you know you should complete. So by sitting with yourself in silence, you will start to come up with a structured plan that you can start executing on as fast as possible, because you no longer have the excuse to distract yourself by easy, accessible distractions. Okay, your phone is super easily accessible. How can you make it difficult or more difficult for yourself? Is by putting your phone in a different room, putting it on airplane mode, making it less attractive. Okay, there is this function, particularly in Android phones, where you can adjust the grayscale, so you can make your phone look black and white. It's making it so much less attractive to use it because the colors are extremely stimulating. So you can put your phone, I can show it. I use it like this, actually. So you have, where is it? So you have this function, and as you can see, so this is just black and white. So as you can see, this is just black and white, okay? And it makes me not want to use my phone as much because it's just unattractive to look at. You don't want to open the apps because they're not as colorful, right? So get used to reducing the amount of stimulation and you will feel a lot less anxious, okay? Because also this is something that I learned recently, a podcast that I listened to, the Huberman Lab, fantastic episode. One of my great friends sent me this episode and it's incredibly eye-opening. I will put the link in the description if you're interested. And he talks a lot about dopamine, and dopamine is a neuromodulator that actually governs a lot of processes in the brain. And dopamine is mainly responsible for motivation, drive, okay? Wanting to get up from the couch and doing something that is modulated by dopamine. Now, if you engage in a lot of instant gratification behavior, you actually have constant releasing of dopamine, but it actually reduces your sensitivity to dopamine. So the effects of dopamine become a lot less, okay? So you don't really feel driven and motivated to complete the tasks that are less instantly gratifying, because you have a shortcut to achieve the natural flow of dopamine. When we were hunter-gatherers back in the day, okay, dopamine was responsible for us going hunting, for example, going to look for shelter, going to look for food, okay? And then we went hunting, we ate the food, the dopamine increases and then it drops back again to baseline, okay? Because if it's constantly elevated, we don't feel the drive to go gather new food. We don't feel the drive to go explore, okay? So it has to come back to baseline. But the more you constantly trigger the dopamine release, okay, the more you increase that baseline level, the less sensitive you will be to the effects of dopamine, all right? So implementing intermittent boredom, implementing bouts of not using any stimulation or abstaining from too much social media use can in fact help you to lower your baseline level of dopamine again, so that now whenever you do something that is more geared towards delayed gratification, you will feel the same amount of drive and motivation to do that, because you're no longer distracting yourself with easy access to dopamine through, for example, your phone, okay? Now on top of that, your relationships might suffer from social media use because you're no longer in the flesh, in person. And so if you reduce talking online, you make it a commitment to maybe limit your smartphone use to 1 or 2 hours a day, okay? Then you will feel again more driven to go out and actually talk to people in real life, okay? Because if you remove the smartphone, all of a sudden you will feel very alone. That's exactly what happened to me when I removed a lot of the social media that I was using regularly. I felt very alone because all of a sudden I'm not talking to anyone, and I realized, wow, I'm actually really lonely. I don't go out, I don't meet with people in real life. But that's just a phase you go through for a few days, maybe a week, a few weeks, and then you start looking for solutions to that problem, which can be showing up at events, in-person events, talking to strangers in the street, meeting up with friends in person, you know, asking them out to join you for a drink or a walk, or, you know, attending an event or going to a museum or a gallery, whatever it may be that interests you, okay? But your brain will start to work more creatively, and you will find yourself connecting more deeply with the people you love instead of just talking online all the time. All right? So those were just a few thoughts on how you can avoid feeling like you're running after yourself. Not necessarily avoid, mitigate, okay? Because you're going to feel like that anyway sometimes. I do too. And it's fine. Accept that. It's okay to feel like you're running after yourself. It's a temporary feeling, and you perpetuate it, or you sustain it by continuously distracting yourself from that feeling. So go into it, reduce the amount of stimulation you engage in on a daily basis, and find sources of more meaningful stimulation or more fulfilling stimulation, which is mostly delayed gratification activities, okay? Meeting with people, working on something that you value, meditation, exercise, all these things. And you will start to feel less anxious and more driven to do things that are actually important to you, okay? So I hope that helped. I want to thank you for your attention. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you in the next video.